afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside Council to order. I am going to do a roll call of our council members who are hopefully on the phone. Councillor Hastings.
Present.
Councillor Schnitzer. Vice Mayor.
Present.
Councillor Donk.
Present.
Councillor Bowen.
Here.
Councillor Craigbaum. Councillor Craigbaum, are you here? She is here on the line? Okay, thank you. We do have a quorum. I'm going to ask everybody to stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Cody.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are deeply humbled to approach you this night as a town, and we pray for thy guidance and thy spirit to be with us. We are grateful for this beautiful country we live in, and we ask thee, Father, to protect it. That as we make decisions tonight about our town, that we will be wise and that we will try to see the effects that it might have on our community. We pray, Father, for those that are affected by the COVID-19 and for all those who are fighting it. We pray for them. We pray that the country will be able to soon return back to normal and that we will be able to get over this virus and to move forward. We pray for our community, that we will continue to bond together and to help one another and to build each other up. We pray for all those who are suffering and ask for thy spirit to be with them. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much, Cody. Once again, I'm going to ask everybody to bear with me as we kind of do this telephonic meeting. We'll all do the best we can. Item B on our agenda is our consent agenda. All items listed are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion of the council. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of town council requests that an item or items be removed for discussion. Council members may ask questions without removal of the item, and items removed are considered in their normal sequence. As you can see by the agenda, we have 4 items, and before I call for a motion on the consent agenda, I would just like to personally thank those individuals who have stepped forward for the Public Safety Retirement System Local Board. I very much appreciate those folks that are volunteering. So unless the council member wants to pull something, Vice Mayor?
Yes, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you, Councillor Donk.
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. I will do a roll call again. Councillor Hastings?
Aye.
Councillor Schnitzer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Aye.
Councillor Donk?
Aye.
Councillor Bowen?
Yes.
And Councillor Craigbaum?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That carries unanimously. Thank you. Item C is business before the council. Public comment will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after this subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item before or after council discussion. Questions from council members, however, may be directed through the mayor at any time. Item D1 on our agenda. Apologize, I'm on the right page.
D1.
Okay. is the 51st Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week Proclamation. And Jill, I'm very glad you're here with us tonight, or this afternoon rather. Okay. Here we go. From the Office of the Mayor. Whereas the office of professional municipal clerk is time-honored and vital part of local government and exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now therefore I, Stephanie Irwin, Mayor of the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside, do recognize the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2020 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our town clerk, Jill Aikens, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside, Arizona, done at Town Hall of Pinetop-Lakeside the 7th day of May, 2020. Thank you, Jill. Appreciate everything you do for us. Yes, we've been very fortunate to have some stellar clerks in our town history, and you're definitely among those. Item D2 on our agenda tonight is an application for a grant. However, we are not going to have really much discussion on that, but I would like Matt, who's on the phone, to explain why we have decided to pull this item so that everybody understands. Matt, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The grant that we are applying for is what they call the build grant, and the build grants are extremely complicated and complex. And in this situation, we have to get through each step, and as you get through each step, then ADOT or the federal government gives you the next step of what has to be completed to make it to the next step. And in this case, we got to the second round, which was part of that was the approval here, and then we were given what was required out of the next round, and it came to our attention that we would need to do a NEPA study and several other things that we didn't have at this point. I still would like to move forward with the grant, but it would do us no good to pass it tonight because we won't be able to make the deadline, which is the 15th. Just to get the NEPA, we're months away from being able to accomplish that. We were hoping that we were going to be able to slip through there because it was a pre-existing road, and that was not the case. So it kind of turned into more of a challenge, and timeline came into effect. So I apologize for that, and hopefully we can apply it for next year. To add to that, there's only $10 million available for the rule, and you have to make it through the federal level and the state level, and both of them have to agree that your project is one of the top projects for Arizona to be accepted. So it's a pretty competitive grant, so we were hoping to throw our name in the hat, but hopefully we can do that next year. I hope that explains the issue. If there's any more questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Matt. I think that explains it pretty well. Council, are there any questions, very briefly? Okay. Hearing none then, thank you for that, and we'll look forward to doing that in the future. Item C3 is consider the submission of an application to the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona, WIFA, for the Woods Cement Drainage Channel and the approval of Resolution 20-1549. Matt, that will be you again, please.
Yeah, so this is the channel that we have been discussing. We've discussed with the local homeowners, and they came to our work session on this actual project. After everything that has gone on with COVID-19 and the pandemic and where we sit financially, there just isn't going to be the funds to be able to do this project. This is an opportunity to apply to WIFA, and it's just the beginning stages of it. So we will, if we pass this tonight, what that allows me to do is to go meet with WIFA, for them to take it to their board and say, yes, they'll take on the project, or no, they won't. And if they'll make it a grant, which they can, what they'll do is they'll forgive the principal on the amount that we're requesting. At that point, I will bring it back to you guys for approval, and then we would move forward. Right now, this is really preliminary, and there's not a whole lot to talk about, because until with the board passes it, there's nothing I can really do either way. And we can even get it back from the board, and the terms could be not something that we're interested in, and we can back out of it at that point. So this is just the beginning part of that application. I hope that makes sense.
That does, Matt. Can I just ask you if you have any idea what the criteria are for turning that into a grant versus a loan? I couldn't find anything on their website. You probably have more information.
Actually, I don't have a whole lot more. They look at every situation individually, is what I've been told. So there could be a pretty good chance, because of the situation that we have with the flooding, and that WIFA has been willing to loan, have part of their money to get out there, and they've been begging for people to apply for this. So I'm hoping that we have a really good chance with the flood and disaster that we had.
And do you have any timeline on when we would know about this, or is it just one of those things we have to wait?
We turn it in, we wait until their board meeting. They're going on, I'm not quite sure when their next board meeting is and which one this one would be on. I'm assuming it would go on fairly quickly, because that's the next step.
Okay, thank you. Council members, does anybody have a question?
Mayor, this is Carla.
Please go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like we initially started with this is going to be.
Can you speak up, Carla? We can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, speak
I
up.
say this initially was, can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Can you hear me? Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I thought that this was initially going to be around 150,000. Am I mistaken on that?
No, you're correct. When this grant came available, I added in the upper channel as well. And to be honest with you, I didn't know that we could apply for grant/loan to WIFA for drainage systems. It's very specific on how you can apply to WIFA for that. One has to be existing. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. One, it has to be an existing infrastructure that was there, and two, it cannot be an upgrade. Since the situation that happened in the woods is not an upgrade, it is what was supposed to be there. This actually allows us to apply for more money for that section to fix the other issues in that area other than just the concrete ditch.
Okay, so we're looking at an increase of $320,000. And if you don't get the grant on this, I'm supposing we're not going to be able to do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll have to, as soon as we get the information back on what the terms will be, if they'll forgive any of it or what they'll do. At that point, I think that would be the point that we want to sit down and say, well, let's back it down a little bit. They're going to forgive 50% of it, so let's do just the concrete ditch and go down a little bit. I think at that point would be the point to have that conversation, but we wanted to make sure that we went for the full amount to make sure if we were granted the whole thing, that we could fix all the issues in the woods area.
Okay, that makes sense. I just kind of choked when I saw that figure because I remember the 150,000 and I just wondered what we were doing with that. So thank you for the explanation.
Yeah, sorry, I should have put that in the description. I apologize.
Oh, you don't have to be sorry. It's no big deal. We
You
got
did,
the question asked.
yeah, you did fine, Matt. That was a good question though, because I saw the same thing.
Yes.
Any other council members with questions? Councilor Dong, would you like to make a motion on this one? Actually, before do we have any?
I thought we weren't going to make a motion. I thought this is one we weren't going to make a motion on.
No, that was
So
C2.
we're just making a motion on this. Okay, so we're making a motion on just submitting for the grant, is what you're saying.
That's correct, on item C3. Yes. Do we
Yeah,
have
okay.
any members of the public who wanted to address this?
Thank you.
No, Mayor, no
Okay,
comments. No
thank you.
questions.
Thank you. Then I will go ahead and call for a motion. Councilor Dong?
Yes, I move to adopt resolution number 20-1549, authorizing the submission of an application to the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona for the Woods Cement Drainage Channel, and authorize the town manager to execute any and all documents reasonably necessary for this project, including any applications and related documents.
Thank you. Councilor Bowen?
Second.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 20-1549. I will take a roll call vote. Councilor Hastings?
Aye.
Councilor Snitzer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Aye.
Councilor Donk?
Aye.
Councilor Bowen?
Yes.
Councilor Craigmont?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Matt. We appreciate your work. Items, yeah, take care. Item C4 is consider the approval of entering into a memorandum of understanding between Navajo County Sexual Assault Response Team, SART, and the Pinetop-Lakeside Police Department, and the approval of resolution number 20-1551. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. This agreement is for an ongoing partnership with the Navajo County Sexual Assault Response Team. In this partnership, our police detectives would meet on a monthly basis with other police agencies and the Family Advocacy Center for Navajo County. During these meetings, they discuss victim-based response to sexual assault. They review cases from around the county to apply best practices to in the future. So we just are asking today for support to move forward with this and keep our department involved with the victims in the county.
Thank you, Chief. Council members, do you have any questions for Chief Barnes?
I'd just like to add, on the financial end of this, there's only real cost to this is probably vehicle costs for driving back and forth to meetings.
And are they held random places throughout the county, or?
Typically, they're held in Snowflake Taylor. They've been there for several years now.
That's not too far. Okay, thank you for that. Councilor Craigbaum, would you like to make a motion on this one?
Okay, I move to adopt resolution number 20-1551, entering into a memorandum of understanding between the Navajo County Sexual Assault Response Team, SART, and the Pinetop-Lakeside Police Department.
Thank you. Councilor Snitzer? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution number 20-1551, All those in favor, Councilor Hastings,
Aye.
Councilor Schnitzer,
Aye.
Vice Mayor,
Aye.
Councilor Donk,
Aye.
Councilor Bowen,
Yes.
Councilor Craigmont.
Aye.
I vote aye, that carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief,
Thank you.
appreciate it. We'll move on to item D5, which is a public hearing regarding eliminating Town Code Chapter 3.12, Development Impact Fees, Section 3.12.010 through 3.12-160, and approving resolution number 20-1550 and ordinance number 20-432, eliminating Town Code Chapter 3.12, Development Impact Fees, Section 3.12.010 through 3.12.160. Cody.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I just want to we kind of briefly discussed this topic back in February, I think, when we had a work session. Just kind of want to remind you why we decided to bring this before you. So we have an impact fee that we charge on any new construction that happens within the town. So if it's a new house or even new commercial, but in addition to a commercial job would require an impact fee. So we're required every 5 years by state to renew our impact fees through a fee study. We hired a company by the name of Tischler Weiss this last year to perform this study for us at a cost of $50,000. In January, they came back to us with increased fees, stating that we should increase our impact fees. Currently, for example, we're charging about $1,894 for a new residence, and it would go up to almost $2,300 for that same residence on the impact fee. Commercial would actually go up significantly. We currently in our impact fees, it's broken down into a lot of different sections for commercial, and they narrowed that down to about 4 and increased the fees on all of those. So when we got that study back, we met with the department directors and the town manager and tried to figure out, what do we want to do? Do we want to move forward with increasing those fees, or do we want to eliminate the fees? After a lot of discussion with the department heads that are receiving impact fees into their departments, it became clear that those fees are really hard for us to spend. There's a lot of restrictions on those fees by the state as to how they can be spent, what they can be spent on. And it takes a long time to build up any amount. With only doing 30 houses, we haven't had a lot of commercial in years, which has changed. But anyways, so there's just a lot of complication in spending that money, and then we had to spend $50,000 of the money we had, which was almost all we had at the time, to do this impact fee study. So it turns out that one of the 5 years ends up going just to pay for our study, the money that we collect for that. Before you have a sheet that has a building permit fee study. So I kind of looked at the other jurisdictions around us to try and figure out what they are doing and what they have currently. So the first section, the top blue section, just kind of tells you how we calculate that. What are we using to calculate our building permit fees? For example, we're using the 2017 ICC building evaluation data. Some people are Shoals using the 2006, Navajo County using their own evaluation. And then further down the plan check fee, how much each jurisdiction's charging to review the plans, and then whether they have an impact fee or not. And of the ones on here, only 2 of us have an impact fee, us and Sholos only goes to streets. Is the only thing that they're collecting impact fees on. We're collecting for police, streets, and library of the 3 that we're collecting impact fees on. And then in the next two sections are just examples of what those fees would be based on. The first example was a 1,902 square foot home. If you look through there, through the evaluation, the total fee, our fee is $4,294 with the impact fee. Without the impact fee, it would be $2,400 for a residence of that size to pull a permit in the town. You can see that based on everybody else, that puts us more in line with what our other neighboring communities are charging. The real significant one is if you look down at the commercial one, so on a 5,000 square foot building, our total fee would be $16,000, almost $17,000 to that business to come into the town and build a building, whereas everybody else is in the $5,000 or $6,000 range. So putting us significantly over what other jurisdictions are charging and putting a huge burden on any business that's wanting to come here to do business. So with that, you know, with the fact that the fees that we collect are hard to spend as they are, with the restrictions placed by the state, and the fact that we are significantly higher with that fee on our businesses and our homeowners, we decided to go ahead and present to you tonight to eliminate our development impact fees, and just eliminate the whole chapter and do away with that fee completely. I think this will be huge for us in trying to, we've had the discussion many times about trying to be more business friendly, and I think this will have a huge effect on that and allowing businesses to come in here and pull permits at a more reasonable cost to them. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Cody. Council members, are there any questions?
Vice Mayor.
Mayor.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I have a question.
Okay.
Tony, I think this is a great move in the right direction to help. I mean, we need to attract businesses, and this is just one more hurdle that we kind of eliminate if we do away with these fees. And I don't see any problem at all in doing that. And also, don't we eliminate the $50,000 study when we do away with impact fees?
We do, yes.
Oh, well.
Most of that $50,000 is already spent this year, but.
Yeah. Yes. Councilor Hastings, that answered your question. Councilor Bowen?
Yes, it did.
Okay, thank you.
You.
Councilor Bowen, did you have a question?
Yes, I have one comment and one question. I've talked to several commercial parties that would have probably come in had impact fees not been there. And I know in talking to the AutoZone people, that was a big deal to them. So I'm really glad, Cody, that you're addressing this. My question is, what happens to the existing fees? Are we still legally obligated to spend those in the way that it's been instructed to, or can we move those fees somewhere else?
We can't. We would have to leave them in those funds and spend them as directed. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to.
Okay. Okay. That was just my only question, but I think this is just really, really well done, and I appreciate having the examples that you put on this chart. That really helps with decision making for sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Blake, what kind of yeah, I just have one.
Go ahead.
I'm questioning, I'm very much in favor of this, by the way. I am questioning what impact to the library, since part of those fees are segregated to the library. Are there very strong restrictions on that, or can we leave some money in there for the library?
There are a lot of restrictions. We did use some fees, I think about 2 years ago to redo the carpet. Some of the fees went into redoing the carpet in there, but it was really hard. It was really restrictive. You couldn't use it you can only use it to expand, and so it didn't, because of the library the way it is, it was hard to expand it, and so
Right.
they still have some money in there, but it's still going to be hard to spend as it is. Just
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Kevin just sent out financial statements for March 31st, and if I remember correctly, there's about $150,000 in the impact fees, and that, of course, is between parks, libraries, roads, and police, if I'm not mistaken. So that's
Right.
something that we should probably look at as we're doing our budgeting and see if there's something that we can use that money for. I know several years ago we
Right.
spent it down so that we wouldn't risk having it swept by the state. That was a concern during the last recession. So anyway,
Okay.
yeah. Any other
Mayor,
questions?
this is Carla.
Go ahead.
Yes,
I know we do have that money in there, and where we're trying to get the police department upgraded. Cody, can we use some of that for that instance?
we might be able to. I think Kevin has been looking into that and trying to figure out if we can use, I'll put him on the
Okay.
spot here, how we can use some of that
Okay.
for that expansion.
Yeah.
This is Jim speaking.
Hang on a second. Councilor Don had a question first, and then I'll come to you, Councilor Spencer.
yes, thank you, Mayor. The question I had was, I would imagine that all communities in Arizona have a problem of spending down impact fees. Is that correct, Cody?
They do, so when you get into the larger jurisdictions where they collect a significant, where they have hundreds or thousands of homes being built every year, it makes it a lot easier because they can collect a whole lot of money really fast. There are still the same restrictions, but they're expanding also. So if you look at Gilbert, who has an impact fee, they're expanding so much and they're growing so fast and so much that they probably don't have the same problem we do of spending that money. Whereas we're growing really slow, and this money is for expansion only, basically. It makes it really hard for us to spend because we're not growing leaps and bounds and putting in new roads and new areas and that kind of stuff. So it just, ours grows so slowly, and we're not really expanding within the town so much as, say, Gilbert is. It probably benefits them dramatically, whereas us, it's just kind of a little bit burdensome.
I would think that, though, that then the league would be interested in, maybe working with the state to try to help the smaller communities in Arizona be able to collect some impact fee and spend some impact fee. I know you don't have the answer, but it's kind of a comment out there to the world,
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Councilor Spencer?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm glad to see this come up. We've talked about this a couple of times over the years, and even back to when I was on planning and zoning, and conceptually, impact fees are a good idea. They make sense. Unfortunately, the way these things are set up, they're really counterproductive. They don't really fund the impact that is created with new construction. And we spend most of the impact fees paying for the study that has the impact fees. It just doesn't make sense at all. So I'm very happy to see this. Let's just get it off the slate and wipe the slate clean and go on from here.
Thank you. Any
Mayor,
other?
can I?
Absolutely. Go right ahead, Councilor Bowen.
Yes. I think what Cody is saying, because we grow so slowly, those impact fees cannot be used like they are in the valley. But I can tell you that in talking to a developer about a year ago, their impact fees down there, just on one house when they're doing a new development, run about $36,000. So, but they have the ability to be able to go out and use those funds in a way that, like you were saying, Kathy, we don't have that latitude in a small community. The problem is that this is all legislative oriented.
at least could make that up for the small communities and maybe make have it where, you know, the size of the community, is how you can spend, that type of thing, you know, make some changes in the law.
Yeah, yeah, so I think that's well said.
Yes, any other council comments? Okay, this is scheduled for a public hearing. Tony, do we have any members of the public that want to comment?
No, Mayor.
Thank you, then I will go ahead and close the public hearing, and before I call for a motion, I would just like to put Kevin on the spot for a moment. Have you gotten any traction with, can we spend money out of impact fees on the PD project?
Well, I think the spirit of how the impact fees work, you have to justify that the new development is a cause of why spending the money. Now, having said that, we are expanding the police department. So I'd like to explore, and I think that there may be a way that we can use some of that money to expand the police department. If we were just remodeling, we could not use it for that. So I'm hoping that there's a way that we can use it for that.
Okay, thank you. We'll keep that hopes up. Any other comments? I will entertain a motion then. Councilor Bowen, would you like to make that motion?
Are we out of the public session?
We are. We're at the public hearing.
Okay, so we're out of that. So I will make the motion. I move to adopt ordinance number 20-432 and resolution number 20-1550, eliminating Town Code Chapter 3.12 Development Impact Fee.
Thank you. Councilor Donk?
I second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 20-1550 and ordinance number 20-432. If there's no further discussion, we'll do a roll call. Councilor Hastings?
Aye.
Councilor Schnitzer?
Aye.
Vice Mayor?
Aye.
Councilor Donk?
Aye.
Councilor Bowen?
Yes.
Councilor Kriegbaum?
Aye.
Aye, that carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Cody. We appreciate that. I think this will be a positive step in becoming known as definitely business friendly and open. Open for business. Okay, item C6 is a report and update from myself and Town Manager Johnson. Oh gosh, where do we even begin? Everybody, I'm sure, has been following the news. The governor has allowed certain things to start reopening in the state of Arizona. He's looking at a lot of data, and I'm not going to reiterate what he said because I think everybody's pretty well aware of it. Effective tomorrow, barbershops and salons can be reopened, which I think a lot of people, including myself, are happy about. On Monday, restaurants will be able to open with limited capacities and recognizing the social distancing rules. So that is really good. I continue to ask everybody to be cautious and be aware, wear your mask when you're out, wash your hands, and we're doing a lot of those kind of things around here. We are looking at a timeline to reopen some town facilities, including town hall, the library, public works, some of our parks facilities. And we're in that conversation right now, so as that goes forward, we will have more announcements on that. I'm not sure the playgrounds will be open for quite a bit yet, because it's really hard to social distance children who are having a really good time on a piece of equipment. So those are the things that we're working on. I so appreciate everybody's support of our business community. It's amazing to me, the traffic. I think this past weekend was like a 3-day holiday, 4th of July weekend, number of people that are up here. So I hope that translates into success for our business community, our restaurants, and I encourage everybody, even after they open back up for dine-in, I think that we're going to need to support them with takeout, because they are not going to be able to be at 100%. So please continue supporting your small businesses, and we're going to get through this and hopefully emerge stronger and more resilient than we have been. So I'm going to turn it over to Keith for his comments.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, it has been a challenge not only for the town of Pinetop-Lakeside, but also for the county, the state, all of our sister cities and towns to manage through this pandemic. You know, there's a lot of information that we get and try to glean how it applies to us. And so we're trying to work through that in the governor's executive orders. There's one thing I do want to reiterate, that you know, the CDC and public health departments are continuing to encourage us as citizens to do everything that we can, whether it's physical distancing. We encourage the use of cloth masks by the public when they're out in grocery stores and other settings. The importance of this, again, comes down to you may be positive, but not showing symptoms. So if you're wearing a mask, you can help to prevent others that you may come in contact with. So even though, people are kind of fighting up against the idea of the mask, I encourage you, suck it up, be a responsible citizen, and try to help protect not just yourselves, but those around you. It is a wise practice for us to do. We see that in our discussion with the Navajo County Health Department on Wednesday, I asked the question, how is this being spread? And is it just a widespread, people individually getting it? And they described it as congregate housing. So people within their own homes that have multiple people living there, could be multi-generational, that if you looked at a chart, you would see that they are grouped up in homes. So somebody in that family is out in the public, maybe it's at work, maybe it's at the store, maybe it's wherever, and they came in contact with somebody else who was positive. They bring it back into their home, and then it spreads through the home. We mentioned this case earlier on. Dr. Burks in one of the White House press conferences talked about her grandmother and a great-grandmother. Great-grandmother, who the grandmother as a young child was alive during the Spanish flu pandemic. She brought it back into her family, and her grandmother got it and died. And so we don't want to be the one that brings it into our family, because there are people that die from it. And so we're just asking everybody, wash your hands, practice physical distancing. If you sneeze into a tissue, throw it away, sanitize your hands, wear cloth masks. It's just some simple precautions that we can do, and we're either protecting our own health, our family's health, or those around us. So I just that's my soapbox.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, Pete.
I feel strongly about it, and this is the simple thing. We are the ones that prevent the spread. So we as town staff have been working together, and I've sent to the council a reopening and budget council update. I sent it to you just a little bit ago. But what we have been doing as staff, we have been working with the departments. We're reviewing the White House and the CD guidelines for the three-phase opening of the economy. And we're trying to determine where we fit into things and where the state's actions are and where it's leading to. So currently, we would say that, well, let me say this. Each phase is supposed to be implemented after 2 weeks of reduced positive tests. That's a challenge because the state's testing is now ramping up, and so we're going to see an increase in testing. And we're going to see an increase in positives. But the hospitals and healthcare system is not being overwhelmed. So that's a great thing, even though we know that we have a good number of people out there that are positive, and we will learn that there are more, that at least the hospitals are not being overwhelmed, and that's a good thing. The governor extended his stay-home order until May the 15th, but as he has been implementing which businesses can reopen, if you look at the phase 1 guidelines, he's only about halfway into the phase 1, what can open. And so what we expect, that since he's extended this to May 15th, we expect that at May 15th, he will go further into and complete the phase 1 openings. So as staff, we're trying to determine what that means for us for town hall, public works, and the library. We have here at the town hall, we have the visitor center. That brings in a lot of people, especially during the summer. So between community development department and the visitor center, that's where most of our foot traffic comes from. So what will come into the town hall, because of the visitor center, are people coming from within the state, all over the state, other states. That can also help to stir the pot and bring in us in contact with positive people who may be asymptomatic and traveling and not realizing it. But so again, we're trying to figure out when to open and what restrictions and protections that we'll place here in the town hall. So tentatively, we are waiting to hear what the governor will announce regarding the extension of or letting it go out of, letting it expire, that's the right word, the executive order on the 15th. So we're waiting to hear that, but tentatively we're looking at June the 1st to open town hall, the visitor center, the library, and public works department to the public. We're going to place plexiglass screens at the reception desk and at the library to provide a barrier for our employees and protect them. We will reduce the number of people that can come into the building. And then once they go into additional phases, then we'll begin to reduce those restrictions. Too many RE words there, sorry. Now, we're also going to, the library will have reduced hours, operating hours. They'll be closed on Saturdays. They'll close on their regular days. They'll close a half hour early so that we're going to go to a smaller staff. Because on the other side of this, we're going to get creamed on, as everybody in the country, we're going to see our tax revenues drop. And so we're trying to manage our way through that and save some money, but yet still be able to provide essential services and vital services to our community. Just to let you know that on Friday, tomorrow, the park ramadas, the bathrooms, and the fishing dock at Woodland Lake Park will be reopened. We're not, at this time, going to be taking reservations, but we will have restrictions on the use of the ramadas. Groups of 10 or less can use them. They will have to clean and disinfect. We would expect them to clean and disinfect, or we suggest that they do, the tables and the benches as they come in and go out, just to be on the safe side. The bathrooms will have restrictions on how many people can enter them, but nobody's going to be there policing it. The dock, I don't remember, we didn't put restrictions on how many people could be on it, but again, physical distancing rules apply here still. So we don't want to see a crowd of people huddled up on there. Let's see, the town council meeting on May the 21st will continue to be closed to the public. The town council meeting on June the 4th will be open to the public unless conditions change. So the conditions that can change is if, as the state begins to reopen, if they see a major surge in hospitalizations and positive cases, the governor may reinstitute some of the restrictions. So we're going to be monitoring all of that. The planning and zoning meeting, we plan on having it as an open meeting on June the 11th, because we have some issues for zoning changes that we've got to get done. So we'll manage our way through that. Hopefully everything will continue to go down on the rates of positive cases in the state, so we can do it. Our budget hearing. Okay, so this is going to be a challenge. We've got absolutely no idea yet how bad our TPT is going to look. So we've moved our budget hearings out a bit. So we've scheduled one for May the 27th. We're canceling that. So May the 27th is being canceled and moved to June the 9th at 9 o'clock. Then we'll have an additional budget hearing scheduled for June 24th. So in that period of time, we're going to continue to get more information. And until we have numbers that we can begin to work with, we've got no idea how much cutting we've got to do. So thankfully, we're gonna have a couple of months to look at so we can gauge it. The hard thing is gauging how long that cut's gonna last and when will it start coming back up, if and when. So that's gonna be a challenge. Let's see, then we have a tentative budget hearing and approval for July the 16th. So our drop dead date to get our budget to the state is July the 20th. So this is our regular council meeting on July the 16th, and during that we'll hold a public hearing. In the past we've had a special hearing, but we don't need to do that. We can have the public hearing during the regular council meeting, save ourselves an extra meeting. As another item that we will bring to the council, it'll be on the June 18th meeting, is, you know, we have the Unisource franchise election, and we have a fact sheet, and so we'll present some information to the council about at the June 18th regular meeting. That, you know, helps it to be open to the public. We plan on distributing that fact sheet through our social media, through our Talk of the Town newsletter, and trying to get that information out. This is an existing agreement that we have with Unisource, and that will be on the August 4th election for approval. I think that is all I've got.
Thank you, Keith. Anybody else, staff member, have an update they'd like to give? Okay, I would just like to thank everybody for...
This Vice Mayor.
I'd like to ask a question.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Yes, I thought maybe Keith, you could share with the rest of council the status of the Woodland Lake Park closing.
This seat
Go
got
right
very
ahead.
hot all of a sudden. Got very warm.
It's in the process.
It is in the process. So I've got to call the Forest Service tomorrow. They want to have a conversation. One of the struggles we're having trying to complete are the easements. We have a number of utility easements within the park boundaries. So understand that Woodland Lake Road, passes through, is on Forest Service property. We, as a town, do not have, I don't think we have a true easement through there. It may be by a special permit. So most of the utility easements exist in that right of way for that road. So once we own it, most of the utilities don't have easements with us in our road right of ways. There are a couple that do.
Keith,
Yes.
Keith, excuse me, a point of order.
Yeah.
It's not on our agenda. Are you free to discuss it?
This is an update.
Just as a part of an
Just
update.
reported updates. I don't think we're going to have any discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
But thank you, Council Bowen.
Okay.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be sure we weren't going to be in violation.
I'm going to jail. Yeah, I'd love to not, you know, I can stop now, that's all right. So I've asked the Forest Service if we can eliminate most of those. So with our franchise agreements, Navapache, Unisource, and our license agreement with Cable One, we don't have to have an easement with them. The others are Frontier, Pinetop Water, Irrigation Company, and the Sanitary District. The Irrigation Company, we need to have an easement for them because that's all around Woodland Lake itself and the dam and their pipeline. So we do need to define that. The Sanitary District has a line that is not necessarily running along the road. So theirs is almost done. The Irrigation Company just got a survey from the Forest Service, so they're working to complete theirs. And so I'll talk to Stephen James tomorrow about eliminating the possibility of eliminating the need for the others, so we can move forward with this. If I can get that done, as long as the title work is all done at the title company, then within the next 30 days we could close.
On it.
Yeah.
That would be great. Okay, I think Councilor Hastings, was it you that had a question?
No, not about that.
Did somebody else? No.
Krigbaum.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Craigmont,
Yes, please.
go ahead.
This is not about what he was talking about. I just wondered, I noticed at the Nature Center when I was there today that there are parts of the carnival vehicles. It looks to me like, I'm wondering if the spring carnival is still on schedule.
I can answer that. Right now, the spring carnival is not on schedule because they're not allowed to open. The equipment is there because, we gave them permission they're shut down, but they were trying to spend the shutdown overhauling their equipment down in that 110-degree heat in the valley. They asked if they could come up and use our facility to work on their equipment. So they're up there with the skeleton crew just painting and cleaning their equipment, getting ready for when it's open. I've asked him, it would be nice to recover somehow. And there are two options. One is that maybe in the fall, everything's maybe, nothing's settled, but maybe in the fall we could have a fall carnival. We're not going to have a spring carnival. Also, maybe if the state opens up to having a carnival and he happens to be here, it may take him a couple of weeks to schedule, carnivals to start elsewhere in the state or in the region, because he does not only this state. But, so there's a potential that, let's just say, at the end of June, he might be open for a week or so here, just to have something to do almost. So that's a possibility, but nothing is settled yet.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Snitzer.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Was there another question, or is that it? Okay, hearing none, thank you, everybody. Please be healthy, and we will.
Here's you. Evening.
All right, everybody take care of June 4th. I'm sorry.
Somebody was.
Thank you.
Did somebody else have a question? Oh, okay. All right, well, good night, everybody. Take care.